not just me, but I'm sure a lot of vets, are having a lot of um, emotional issues, right now because the um, the whole thing about death, man, is I don't think anybody should be able to uh, declare war on anybody, and unless you have smelled burning flesh from artillery fire, and unless unless you've seen your friend who you were eating cookies with yesterday bleed out while he's crying for his mama, you shouldn't be able to declare war. You know, I don't just feel pain for the Americans who are dying and the ones that are gonna die, because a lot more is probably dying that we haven't heard of. But I feel for the Iraqi people. I feel for the kids. I mean, it was a school bomb. I got name of my company is Daughters to Feed Films. You know, um, I feel for those parents. That have to bury their kids. It's nothing cavalier about war. It's nasty, it's ugly, and to hear people treat it so lightly, it really hurts. It hurts a lot. So um, and I purposely didn't wear my Vietnam veteran cap today, although I wanted to. It's like I just I'm just trying to just be silent for it on a second, because I don't do politics really. This is an entertainment industry show, so I want to really talk about my film and the things going on in the entertainment industry.
I definitely respect that. I value you because you did actually serve time. So you kind of made a statement about people that are making these decisions, and I assume you are referencing President Donald Trump, who has issued this war, and he probably has not seen the things that you've seen, particularly with Vietnam being as gruesome as it was and tough it was for our troops here. Um, so I appreciate you giving that perspective. How long did you serve for, just to kind of like
uh
add some
thir-
credibility?
13 months in Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And oh wow. So it must
yeah,
have
I
been
was in
that
the
extreme
Navy.
for you.
Yeah, I was in the Navy. And so on the news, all they're doing is showing missiles taken off from ships and stuff. And you know um it's hard, to be honest with you, when because just to they say war so easily, but the reality of it, and again, you have to understand the smell of death. You have to hear those cries when people are dying, bleeding out, man. Everybody just, it's not like in the movies where people get shot and they die right away. It's a lot of people that, you know, they hurt and they literally bleed out, and somebody's there watching and crying and feeling, and that's somebody's son and daughter. And it's just, and these people, the 6 soldiers that are dead now, they they weren't even in combat. They were on a base somewhere, and these missiles came in. It's no excuse for it right now. Those people weren't attacking us. It's the whole thing. And again, I don't want to get political because there's no win. There's so many people that love Donald Trump, and there's so many people that hate him. I could care less. I only care about the soldiers and everybody in the military and their parents and families, because that's the reality of it. Is you should do everything in your power not to go to war, not for one person to die. And that's just the reality of being human. It's like, so I don't want to get into it because, again, I forged my birth certificate at 15 to go to Vietnam. And when I hear somebody that's very rich, they claim they got a doctor to say spurs, and then nobody in his family has been to war, none of his kids, none of his you know, friends. It's like, it's like the poor against the rich. And, so those back in the Vietnam time, literally, those are draft dodgers. That's what they were, is draft dodgers. So let's talk about entertainment.
That's right. I think that was a great response, and I appreciate you even touching that. So, how did you transition from going to war and combat to now entertainment? Like, what was that for you like?
Um, yeah, both of them, entertainment. Hollywood is a war, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's its own battle. And and I'm a soldier. All I know is keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eye on the prize. You're gonna get home. You're gonna get home. You're gonna succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't entertain any negativity. You don't entertain any doubt. You just keep moving forward. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my time in the industry.
You forged your birth certificate to join the army because you were trying to escape the thugs in Chicago.
Yeah, the
How
Blackstone Rangers.
how bad was it? Was it that bad? Do you know
It
that
was
you?
it was beyond bad. It was beyond being able to put in words. Everybody really talks about the TV show The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
They love that show. And I the president of Paramount bought my life story in 1982 or something like that. And it didn't get made, but that's how I got in the Writers Guild, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now, since that time, and the way media has changed, my story would be great as a series, mini series or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like The Wire, because the South Side of Chicago makes The Wire look like, um, you know, kindergarten, preschool, and this,
Mm-hmm.
that was lightweight, man, compared to the South Side of Chicago. You talking about real gangs, real thugs, real gangsters, real murderers, real
Right.
extortion, all the real stuff.